Well, hi, it's showtime. Yo, Joe, this is Caleb Jones, and this is Unchained CEO. Is my camera tilted? Hang on, I'm going to adjust my camera. That's a little better. What am I? I'm Unchained CEO. Location-independent income through a location-independent business, moving to a less bad country, or at least setting up an international backup plan and doing all these things for very little money. Or if you get really creative and crazy, you can do both. You can do what I did. You can leave the collapsing West into a less bad country and also set up an international backup plan, because I have about three of those. One, two, three. I got three of them. Yeah. So we will bring on in about a half an hour in Henry with Invest with Henry. A lot of you know who he is. He is a big Unchained CEO Alpha 2.0 success story. Very proud of him. He has done some pretty amazing things, and he will share with you a business model that is location dependent, that plugs exactly into these models. We'll talk about an area I have no experience in, which is why he needs to talk about it. Very similar to Vincenzo about 2 weeks ago. Let's see. Few quick questions. I have one topic to discuss before Henry joins us. I was a few minutes late, so I'll answer a few quick questions here. Is getting a residency in a low-tax U.S. state such as South Dakota necessary before getting a residency in another country? It is necessary before you leave the United States, not before you get residency somewhere. No. When you leave the United States, you want to make sure that before you leave, this is for you Americans now, you're an American, before you leave, you need to make sure that you are domiciled in a state with no income tax. Otherwise, you may have to pay state income tax even though you don't live in the country. You don't want that kind of hell. So the first step is move to or set up residency in a zero income tax state, then you move out of the country. If you're going to stay in the United States, as usual, you're kind of fucked. It doesn't matter what you do. In your 90-day business builder, does your method eventually include getting on sales calls? Yes, very much so. We have an entire sales call program in the program. Yep. Or do your students close your clients through text? You can do it through DMs too. Yes, you can do it through both, and you can also do it through ads. So there's several different options. Can you bring prescriptions to another country via plane or shipment? Plane, yes. Shipment, no. Plane, yes. You can bring anything you want on the plane. No, it doesn't make any sense. So you can bring all the pharmaceuticals you want on the plane, carry on, check-in, doesn't matter. I've done this. But if you ship them, FedEx, UPS, DHL, they will be stopped at the border and they'll freak out and they'll send them back. Believe me, ask me how I know this. So this is not just one or two countries. This is the vast majority of countries. So if you need to move pharmaceuticals, either you order them in the country you are that ships to where you are. Okay, that's limited options depending on what you're doing. Or you go get them yourself, which is what I do. Or you have someone physically bring them to you. So that's one of the reasons I visit the United States twice a year. Alpha 2.0 psychologist, doctor who wants to move to Paraguay. Should I treat U.S. clients remotely? Yes. Or should I get a license to practice in Paraguay? I do speak Spanish. Treat them remotely, move to Paraguay, and then if you want to set up a separate corporation in Paraguay, you can do so. You won't be able to charge very much money in Paraguay. So your income requirements, your income expectations have to drop a lot. So that's why I wouldn't do it. I would just keep charging them to Western. Live in cheap countries, get clients in expensive countries. You don't necessarily want to move to a cheap country and then get clients in a cheap country. Do you want to charge $10 an hour for your psychiatry? Probably not. You want to charge $150 an hour, right? Right. That's what you do. Top 40 music. You know what's interesting is that a few days ago, I heard a song on the radio. I never listen to radio, but a top 40 song that wasn't horrible. What? What the fuck? The music has been shit for 15 years. What the hell? So so what's interesting is that this is a song. Let's see, what's the song? The song is let me think a minute. The guy in the Han Solo movie, Glover. Donald Glover, Feels Like Summer. It's a pretty good song. The first song I've heard on the radio in about 20 years that wasn't horrible. Shit. All right. So I actually heard one. This is how it works, the Western collapse. So in the I'm speaking objectively, not the kind of music I like. This is as objective and neutral as I can be. Music in the 1960s, fantastic. Music in the 1970s, fantastic. Music in the 80s, a slight tick downward. That's 80s is my era. Slight tick downward, but still amazing. Music in the 90s, kind of a drop. Okay, kind of a drop below the 90s. That's what everything got worse. Music in the 2000s, a slight uptick from the 90s, but still not as good as the 80s, 70s, or 60s. And then as soon as you hit the teens, like 2010-ish, huge plummet. And music for the past 15 years has just been shit. Top 40 music, hip hop, it's been garbage. It's awful. So I'm very surprised. Oh, Henry, you're here. Henry, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. All right, I'll bring you on. I'll be on in a minute. Cool, Henry's early. All right, we'll get started earlier. Let me finish up my questions here, and then in a second here. Do you use high pressure tactics and 90-day business builder? No, because those don't work. Usually, there are exceptions. No, why would we teach that to beginners? I'm not going to teach. If you're a beginner salesperson, or not salesperson, beginner business owner, why would I teach you something high pressure? That you wouldn't do it. So, no. For an Alpha 2.0 psychologist, would I narrowly niche even further than age ranges as 35 to 55-year-old men with a specific high-end income occupation? No, that's okay. It better be a specific high-income occupation, not high income, because high income is not a niche. So it better be pretty specific, yeah. All right, I'm going to bring on Henry here. Hang on a moment. Yo, how you doing?
Hey, good.
You look very bright with your window. Are you in? So where are you right now? What country are you in?
I'm in Poland.
You're in Poland. Okay, you're good. Your lighting's fine. It's good enough.
Awesome.
So I'm going to ask you a few questions to kind of clarify who you are for those of the guys who don't know who you are. So some of you know who this is. This is Henry with Invest with Henry. I'll let him introduce himself in a second, but just to cover a few bases, and I always do this with people who are younger. So how old are you?
I'm about to be 30, so I'm 29 at the moment.
29, so you're in your 20s. And we'll talk about how much money you're making in a minute. But the money that you're making, how old were you when you entered into that income range of what you're currently making right now? Approximately.
Well, I've been scaling income for a long time because it's like compound interest when it comes to investing. So,
right.
I mean, I started 10 years ago with $2,000 and now have multiple. I'm worth $5 million now, but it took a while. It took 10 years.
What is your typical monthly income?
From trading,
you don't have to answer if you don't want to.
No, I don't care at all. From trading, it's 150,000, and from being a coach who manages other influencers, another $250,000. So 150K investing
per month.
Yeah, so it's like 400,000 a month.
400,000 a month. Okay.
Pre-taxes, pay a bunch of taxes.
All right, so pre-tax. I'm assuming pre-tax. Okay. And is this income 100% location dependent?
Yeah, I've traveled to all the countries that you list.
I know you do. Videos, yeah, I know the answers to all these questions. I'm just doing this for the audience. All right. So you
and I watch every video. So.
All right. So let me get this straight, Henry with Invest with Henry. You make almost $500,000 a month, 100% location dependent. You're still in your 20s. So obviously that means that your parents, when you left your home or left high school, your parents were rich and gave you a big mountain of money, right?
No, actually, my parents are really poor because they're from like Soviet Union and they have a really bad mindset, really bad one. Mm-hmm. Alpha 1.0 is my dad.
Well, Soviet Union, that makes sense. Okay, so then your parents didn't give you any money. Clearly, you had a rich relative somewhere else who died and left you a bunch of money and they said, here's $1 million to start your own business, Henry, right?
Honestly, it was all your teachings. Like it just took a bunch of bunch of effort building Alpha 2.0 businesses, the systems that you teach. I went through your program a few years ago, just everything that you teach on the active income. I do active and passive income. Obviously, I teach passive income. But my active income grew partially because of you, partially. I've taken many other coaching and stuff like that.
I'm trying to think of other excuses. Let me see that people would use about when they see someone your age making the money that you make. Location.
The biggest excuse is time. They're like, I don't have time. It's like, dude, I go around hanging out with women. And I'm trying to get my dating better. So it's not much time.
Well, okay, let's cover that really quick. Okay, so you're making 450K a month-ish, location dependent. You're still in your 20s. How many hours a week do you typically work right now? And I know that fluctuates, but right now, how many hours a week do you work?
I work 2 hours a day, so it's 14 hours a week.
All right, so 2 hours a day. I hope you all listening to this, okay? Over 400,000 a month. He's in his 20s. He started poor. He works 2 hours a day.
It wasn't always like that.
Let's talk about college. Did you go to college? Did you go to like Harvard, Oxford?
I went to Drexel University for 5 years, and I studied finance.
You did go to college. Okay.
Yeah.
Drexel. I don't even know where that is. Where's that?
It's right next to University of Pennsylvania. They're on the neighbors.
Okay, got it.
I didn't get into UPenn. I went to Drexel. I always felt inferior, but I made more money than them.
Were you there all 5 years? Did you get a BA or what'd you get?
Yeah, I got a bachelor's in finance, economics, analytics. So kind of like a triple major. I had 3 internships. One of them was Goldman Sachs, which is a pretty big selling point of, me, and 2 hedge funds.
Right. Okay, so you did go to college. So that's one excuse. Well, he probably went to a good college. Did you go? Is Drexel a great? Is it an Ivy League, like amazing?
It's not.
College?
It's like no, it's not Ivy League. No.
Right. So you didn't meet people at. It's not like you went to Harvard, where doors open up for you because you went to Harvard. You went to Drexel. I mean, did a lot of doors in the corporate world open up for you specifically because you went to Drexel University?
I had a really tough time getting a finance job actually after college, so I took a consulting job, something that you teach.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I remember you talked about that a long time ago. Right. All right, I think I covered all the questions that people would ask about. This is bullshit. Okay.
Also, while building the business, I'm following all your other protocols. Traveling, pretty big actually. Like I work out.
Good.
Everything.
You're bigger than I saw that you're on last time. You're getting bigger now.
I know. I have a personal trainer now.
Oh, okay. That did it. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. You guys, Henry is an example of what you can pull off. Now, if you're like, oh my God, 400,000 a month, I could never do that. Great, fine. Can you do 7,000 a month like I talk about? If Henry is doing 400,000 a month, can you do 7? Yeah, you could do 7. And he's not even 30. What do you turn 30? When's your birthday?
On Halloween.
Oh, Halloween. Okay. So he's not even 30 yet. He's still in his 20s.
I overkilled with money because of scarcity mindset.
Say again?
I overkilled it with money. I did too well financially. You don't even need this much. Obviously, you can live a freedom-focused lifestyle without having this amount of money. I don't even spend it. It's useless. It's really useless.
Yeah, you and I have had a conversation about that. Right. Well, there's a certain point at which you can buy everything. So you're like, okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Right. There's a certain point where you can, buy anything you would typically want. Like, I don't need to own a yacht. That'd be fine, but I don't need to. I don't want to. I could buy a Bugatti, but I don't need to own these things. So it depends on what you want. But yeah, we could talk about that after your thing. But yeah, sure. Okay. Let's see. Make sure the questions are good. We're all good. So I'll let you introduce yourself, and then why don't we talk about your business structure that you teach. And by the way, just so you guys don't know this, been working with Henry a long time. He's been a long-time client of mine. Some of you have known him. Some of you have bought his course already. Henry's the real deal. What he does, I know for a fact works because I've seen the numbers. So he's going to start quoting you figures and things like this. Matter of fact, you're going to can you share your screen? Are you able to do that? I might have to show you how to do that.
Absolutely.
You say present at the bottom. If you have trouble, let me know.
Yeah. So share screen. Yeah. You
don't do it yet. You don't do it yet. He's going to show you screenshots and everything. He's going to show you all these things. I'm telling you, this is all legit. This is all real. This is something you're able to do if you have an interest in doing this. This is a personality thing, options trading and things and finance. This is an area in which some of you I know have a big interest. Some of you really don't have an interest. But if you don't have an interest in this specifically, then at least you need to listen to Henry in terms of an example of what is possible for you setting up a location-independent business. Even if you're young, even if you're starting from zero, if you don't know anything and you have no money, because Henry didn't have any money, you started with $2,000, right?
Yeah, I was really scared to start with that, but yeah.
Yeah, and I was similar. I started with less. So there you go. So if you're not interested specifically in options trading, what you want to pay attention to, and I'll ask Henry questions as we go along, what you want to pay attention to are the things he did when he talks about things he did and things he teaches that can apply to your business or your business idea, even if it's not options trading. Because I don't trade options, but you can still learn from what Henry is talking about. And then if you are interested in finance, options trading, or anything related to that, you need to really fucking listen to Henry, because in terms of options trading, that niche specifically, he's the best person I know. I don't know anyone who does it better than him. So cool. And I'll let you start. I might interrupt you with questions as you go along.
Yeah, sure. And I'm happy to talk about all the areas of life, whether it's location dependent, sales, pick niche, freedom, all that stuff. Yeah,
and we'll do as Henry is talking. If those of you who are live, go ahead and put your questions in the chat, and we'll do kind of what I do. We'll let Henry go till the end. At the end, we'll rewind and answer all your questions. We'll just do a Q&A at the end. Okay, that's how we'll handle it. But I'm paying attention to the questions. If the question comes up, I think is super relevant to what he's saying, I might interrupt him. But other than that, if I don't verbalize your question, just like I always do, rack up your questions. And at the end of what he's talking about in terms of his business structures he's discussing, we'll do a full Q&A at the end. Cool. And I'll ask him questions too. You want me to add this? You're ready for me to share the screen?
Can you see my screen right now or no?
I see it at the bottom. It's not added. I have to add it.
Oh,
See, now I see the black. I see the black screen now. Is that what you want to see? Show?
Yeah, sure.
There you go. You see that?
Cool. So yeah, I basically just show everything. I never really hide anything, my wins, losses, and all that. You can see everything now. You can see a white screen now, 2.6 million.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we can go over some of this stuff, but I can show everything. I can show my tax returns. I'm really, really open.
I know you are. You're more open than I am.
Yeah, a little too open. Yeah, a little too open. Had someone knock on my door in the United States actually a couple of weeks ago. It was very, very weird, but I wasn't there. So
was it someone from the IRS?
We don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, probably a Jehovah's Witness.
Okay. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about, I guess, the story that took me here. I've been following your videos for probably since 2020. Someone introduced me to your channel, and I've just been following all the systems, trying to scale an Alpha 2.0 business. I wanted to travel. Obviously, US is collapsing. There's lots of issues there. So I wanted to reduce the taxes, and live abroad. So option trading and just investing in general has really helped me a lot. It wasn't always the case, though. I was working at IBM as a consultant, actually. I was making $75,000 a year, which I guess meets the Alpha 2.0 minimum before you upgraded it. But yeah, I was tied down to a location. It was New York City, so that's really not a lot of money. And
no.
Yeah, it's not a lot of money.
Not for New York.
So yeah, just the most important things that I learned from your channel and all your teachings, just location, time freedom, obviously skills with women, and just living a better lifestyle. Even than a billionaire. I feel like my life is better because of you than a billionaire.
Correct. I've said that myself. Yes. We have more freedom than most billionaires.
Yeah. And we've done this before. And actually your students here, I'll stop sharing for now because I think we get the point. A lot of your students are actually my best students because for some reason they have just a better mindset. They have a better mindset. Yep. They're very intelligent, more analytical, and they're more long-term focused, which is why I love working with your guys. We did this last year, and a lot of them have made either six figures or, $5,000 a month, almost six figures.
Mm-hmm. I've heard it. I know.
So yeah, I'm just excited to talk more about investing. And for me, it's been option trading. A lot of people think it's hard, but it's really not. It's just creating income on stocks. So it's kind of like stock trading or just investing in general. So it's very similar. And I'm basically just using blue chip stocks, Apple, Google. I know you like more like crypto and stuff. I know you have some gold, silver. For me, I don't think Apple's going anywhere because we all have Apple iPhones. Everyone has one. So I just do simple stuff, investing in Apple or Google, Microsoft, these type of companies. For me, I'm doing like 3 or 4% a month. But if you have a smaller portfolio, it's easier to scale because obviously risking small money, it's easier. You don't want to risk a few million on something stupid. So yeah,
let's talk about options trading specifically as an income source.
Yeah, sure. So I think it's a very strong secondary source of income. I don't think anyone here should quit their job and just trade, but I think it's mandatory to do on the side. Mandatory. Like everyone here needs an online business, an alpha male business that brings in income. But then what do you do with this cash? Cash is trash. It doesn't generate any income for you. So you have to invest it. It's mandatory.
Especially now with inflation.
Yes.
So
you only have a few choices. You have stocks, which are kind of slow. You have real estate, which is location dependent. Only your guys get this. Other people don't understand why I don't have real estate. They're like, you're worth multiple millions. Why don't you have real estate? Like,
right. And my thing is real estate is not 100% passive either. It's not.
No, it's not at all. And only you and your guys understand this. No one else understands.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have any real estate. I'm like, yeah, no shit. Because I'm trying to date all day. I'm trying to go to the gym. I don't want to answer any calls.
Right.
So it's real estate, which sucks, stocks, which are slow. And then there's like Forex and crypto and stuff, which I don't really specialize in. From my understanding, is very risky. And options to me is just the safest form of investment.
What is an option for those few people who don't know what that means? I know what it means. What does it mean?
Yeah, it's just a contract between two people to buy a stock. So if you think a stock goes up, you just buy a call option. And it's really beneficial because when you buy stock, it's expensive. But when you buy a call option, you put up a couple $100, you can make a couple thousand. So you had leverage.
Mm-hmm.
And what I do in my community, though, is I focus on selling options. So creating income. So like weekly income, typically the first goal is $1,000 a week or $500 a week is fine. So I focus on income. So I focus on guys that want stability, safety, passive income.
And give me an example of how someone can make $500 a week, because a lot of the audience would be fucking excited as fuck to make $500 a week location dependent. I mean, to some of you in the audience, that's like $500 a week. But to a lot of you, like if you made $500 a week, because I remember when I was there, when I started making $500 a week in my own business, especially if it's location dependent, $500 a week changes your life. You're like, holy shit, $2,000 a month, and I can be anywhere I want, and I can just scale from there. So give me an example of how someone who's relatively new through the actual active income generate $500 a week.
So if someone had, for example, $10,000, they can open up a position. It takes three minutes, let's say on Apple. Something called the spread. You put up $500, you can get $50 back, which is like a 10% return. So if you put 10,000, you could make 1,000. You could, but it's all based on risk and reward. Like you can risk more and make more. You can double your money in a week too. But I don't recommend those type of strategies. I try to focus on more passive income. So 10,000 could make 500.
So 10,000. So let's say we want to be really conservative and not be very risky with our 10,000. Is 500 feasible if you're not risky? 500 a week or no?
Probably not every week. No.
Not every
you
week.
Could make 500 some. Yeah, you could make 500 some weeks, but it does depend on the market. So the market has bad times. But the good news is I usually outperform the market even in bad times.
And if I take 10,000, and we'll talk about if some of you are saying, I don't have 10,000. We'll cover you guys in a second. But if I took 10,000 and I'm conservative with it, I'm not risky with it, what are my odds of losing the 10,000? Because that's always a big question.
There's some strategies that I cover where it's impossible to lose. Unless
your strategies, using your stuff, what are my percentage probability that I could lose the entire 10,000? I know the answer.
It depends on the period of time. Over a 2-year period, the chances are nothing, like literally nothing, like less than 2%. Actually, like less than 2%.
Yeah.
If you're running
so now let's say I'm a super nervous Lissig beta and I'm terrified. So 10,000. What am I percent? If I follow your systems and I don't take a lot of risks, what are my percentage odds of losing that in the next 2-3 months? All of it.
I mean, if you follow my exact trades, I haven't lost money besides like COVID time. So, and I made it all back within 6 months. So the chances are like really, really low to lose money.
Really low. How about people in your system? What do you have like? How well do they do? If you, on a hypothetical 10,000, when they actually take some money, they put it in. How many guys in your system have lost all the money they put in, not including the ones who are risky, the ones who are prudent, have lost all their money within a few months?
Losing all your money doesn't happen following me. They've lost their money if they've. Some of them like to trade like really stupid stocks. Like, I don't know if you know Rivian, Lucid, these electric vehicle stocks.
Yeah, Lucid, yeah.
I mean, I don't like them, but if these guys stray onto the side and they do their own stuff, then they lose their money. But that's not because of me. It's
but if they follow what you tell them, I don't think what I'm getting to is, correct me if I'm wrong, and let's be real about this. I don't think you've had anyone, as far as I know, who followed your system and didn't do anything stupid, who did what they were told. Has anyone lost their money? Has anybody? And if they have, be honest, have they, or has nobody? I don't think anyone has they? Have they? That you know of? No. Okay.
I know, like, we have a lot of your guys signed up last year. We had like, I think I know 70.
That's how I know this. Right. I've heard back from them. I haven't heard one guy say, "Oh man, I lost my money." I've heard nothing but good things. I've not heard one person, and I would hear about it. I would hear if someone lost all their fucking money. They lost all my money. With my audience, they'll let you know, and I haven't heard a fucking word. So, and I've asked. So cool. Okay. then you've addressed this too in your other stuff. So let's say I have very little money. I'm a young guy like you and I were. Well, you still are young. Like I was young and you were younger. And I've got like $2,000. Can I do this or am I fucked?
You can do it. You just can't have the expectation of making $1 million overnight. That's definitely not going to happen. But in my opinion,
what expectation could I have if I was prudent and I followed your systems?
You basically, I cover this with everyone that's in my program. It's basically you're investing to create slow income, and along the way, every single month, you have to add money to the portfolio. Even if it's $200, that's fine. You add $200 every single month, then you have two things working for you. You have your passive income coming from your portfolio plus additional capital. You have to add capital at $2,000. Right. But you have to learn. The sooner you learn, the better. It's like just because you're broke, you still have to learn women's skills because you will eventually need to get a woman at some point in your life.
Right. How long does it take me? How many hours per week does this take me getting started? If we're starting from zero and I'm serious about this and I want to make this a real side income or eventually a full-time income, how many hours a week does this take?
For your guys, like an hour a week over like a month.
Getting started.
Well,
I know nothing. I'm a moron. I've never done this in my life.
All right, yeah, it depends. Yeah.
I'm trying to get paint the worst case scenario.
Worst case scenario, 20 hours. 20 hours.
20 hours. 20 hours over what period of time?
Any period of time. You just need 20 hours to get good at this.
20 hours to get good at it. And then to maintain it, it's about an hour a week or more.
Well, people could just copy trades 15 minutes once a week. So it could be.
So you give them the trades and they can copy your trades?
Yeah, it's very low time effort. This is mostly knowledge based. So if you have the knowledge to do this, you can do it. And capital based. So having more money helps. You don't need to, but it helps. There's no such thing as putting in lots of time on this. More time doesn't do anything. It's like texting a girl 30 times doesn't do anything. Texting her once, if you have enough value, she'll like you. Texting her 30 times is not going to help you.
Yeah, this is more of a hybrid between investing and business. That's kind of how I view this. So it's not really a business where you could put in 20 hours. I mean, I don't know. No. You could do research, but you couldn't do trades. So you're not talking about research. You're not talking about. So sorry, what?
There's no point in research. I do the research for everyone. So.
Right. Good point. Okay. Right. So, I was going to say, shit, I lost my train of thought. You're not talking about day trading where you're on the computer, you're on your laptop several hours a day going boom, 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 boom. You're not talking
about it's very boring, like more retirement stuff. So I do ideally like guys that are around your age, 50s. They have income and they just want to retire. So I do like that type of person, but I teach everyone.
What is the typical age of the people in your program? Is it around 40s, 30s, or you have a whole gamut? What do you have?
40 to 60. You're actually the ideal person. So
I'm the ideal target audience. Okay.
You are.
Do you have guys in their 20s doing it? Do you have young guys doing it?
Not really.
None of your stuff. You have young guys. None of it.
Nope. None. Young guys don't understand investing. They don't value investing. They get into it too late, which is an issue. So if you have young guys watching now, they should get into it because everyone does it too late.
Yeah, I know. That's interesting. I thought you had more guys who were a little younger.
I can even pull up my YouTube analytics. It's 40, 50, 60 because men understand this later in life.
Yeah.
They should understand it earlier, but they don't.
Men don't worry about this shit. You're right. Until they're like mid 40s and they go, oh my God, I have no money. I got to start investing.
That's busy being beta males.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's the norm. Yeah, exactly. Can you give the audience some techniques, any techniques that they could use if they want to try to do this themselves, which I'm not recommending they do, but can you give the audience some technique or some overview on how you would do this or how you would evaluate an option or a stock or something like that?
I can go through a quick example.
Okay, do it.
So I'm going to share screen.
All right, let me know and I'll present it. And for those of you listening on the podcast, I will verbalize what we see on the screen if Henry doesn't. Henry probably will.
I can verbalize everything.
All right, cool.
All right. Well, you guys can see right here on the side, I have a bunch of positions. Some of them are making money, some are losing money. But we'll just let's just open up a position from scratch. So I'm going to open up a position on American Airlines.
What tool is this?
This is Robinhood, but any tool is okay. People can use Fidelity. Any broker is fine. Interactive brokers for overseas people.
Okay.
I use Robinhood. It's a free application.
Yeah, it's free.
So I'm going to type in the ticker symbol AAL, which is American Airlines. This is obviously everyone's familiar. If you fly at all, if you even want to live a location-dependent life, you're going to use an airlines. If I go to the 1-year chart, I'm just going to verbalize here that the stock has gone up, down, but in the past, this year, if I go to year to date, you'll notice that we have a year to date return of 1.4%, which is literally nothing. This stock doesn't do anything. It just goes up and down, which is actually a good thing for option trading. So I find companies like this that are high quality companies. American Airlines can't go bankrupt, by the way. Obviously, the government would like.
No, government won't let it, correct?
It won't let it. Yeah, they'll step in. So I use companies like this. This is a good example because in this example, you only need $1,300 to make this trade. Because the way you would do the strategy I'm talking about, which is called a covered call, is you simply buy 100 shares, which would cost $1,300. And then you can get this $1,300 to start generating income on a monthly basis. So if I pick expiration right now, this is called an option chain. If I simply pick something like 32 days away, this is June 28th, 32 days out, I can sell a call option at $14. All this means is that I have the stock. If it goes to 14, I give away my stock. And I get paid $53 for this position. This is almost a, 0.5% return or so. This is a very safe example. Other examples can make more money. But in this example, you make $53 per month for the 1,300 that you put up.
So you're making money on the fluctuation of the stock, but you correct me if I'm wrong. The reason you're making money is because the stock is bouncing up and down, but it ends up being around the same in 30 days. Is that correct?
Actually, you'll make money in so many different ways. If it goes up, you'll just make a little bit of money. Plus, you get this $53 on the screen. If it goes sideways, this $53 is yours no matter what. The reason why you're getting paid $53 is because someone else out there in the world is saying, I think American Airlines is worth so much more. I want the right to buy it from you at 14. You're like, sure, you can take it for 14. I bought it for $13.84 anyways. So it's like a win-win.
So when are you selling under this scenario? When are you selling the option? Are you selling in 30 days? Or are you selling at a certain time?
You sell it right now. At this moment, I sell the option and it just gives someone else the right to buy it at 14. If it's not at 14, no problem. If it is at 14, you lose your stock at 14.
So you just wait. So you wait to see what happens, you're saying.
Yep. That's like me paying, like, let's say your Dubai apartment's $1 million. I'm like, hey, Caleb, if Dubai skyrockets, I'm going to buy your apartment for 1.1 million. You have to guarantee me I can buy it for 1.1 million. And here's 100K.
Right.
You're like, sure, dude, I'll take your 100,000 and I'll sell it for
do options on real estate too. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
The only way that you can't even really lose at this. The only way you lose is you lose opportunity. Imagine Dubai doubled in value and it was worth 2 million. You'd be a little bit upset. You'd say, geez, I'd be
out 900, theoretically 900 million, 900,000.
You wouldn't be out. You would just lose the opportunity to be that much richer, but you still made money.
Okay. That's a nicer way of saying it, but yes.
Well, it's true. You are richer. You're just less rich than your neighbor who didn't.
True. Right. If you're saying, I see. If I started a valuation of $1 million, I made 100,000 either way.
Yes. I paid you 100,000. You made 200,000.
No, I made one. Why did I make two? Did you say 1.1 or 1.2?
So your apartment's 1 million, but I'll buy it from you for 1.1. So I already buy it for 100 grand more, and I'll give you 95.
You already gave me 100 grand irrelevant of the buy. Okay, got it.
Exactly.
In addition to the buy price. Exactly. You're right. Got it. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Right. So I made money. It's just a question of how much money do I make? Right.
Yeah. So you make 200,000 in this example.
And so your point earlier was, in that scenario, I would need $1 million to buy the apartment in the first place. I have to own it. So in this scenario with options trading, you would need to put in the $1,300 for American Airlines to start the process. And your point is, if you only have $1,000, you'll make money, but you won't make $1 bazillion because you're starting with 1,000.
Yeah. I also show you the safest strategy I have. This is the safest. We can talk about things that can multiply your money 10x, but this is the safest way.
Let's not go there just in case, but yeah, this is the safest way. It gets better from there, right? And what you're saying earlier is you have multiple positions, right?
It's actually really easy. If you buy a 14 call and it goes to 15, you make $100 and you spend 57. So you can, that's just a double right there.
Right.
You just
And then
double
so
your money in a month.
you have multiple positions. Do most of the people under your system? So like my 70 guys, the vast majority have, well, like they probably all have multiple positions, right? Do any of them have one position? Are they doing that?
No, I don't recommend that because we want diversity.
Good answer. That's excellent. Okay. So you want
yeah, we have 12 to
15
positions is my recommendation.
Excellent. That's when I have my my get rich bucket investments. I try to look at like at least 11, 12, 13 different things. So that's the only number I have in my head too. That's great. So in other words, your point is if you had our original example, if you had $10,000 to do this, you would not drop $10,000 onto American Airlines stock, right? Or would you?
Yeah, no, we would have a bunch of different positions. We would have at least 5, 10 positions.
5 or 6. Yeah. Okay. Great. Okay. Yeah. Perfect. All right.
You see, okay. I have so many. You can actually see my current total return right here. Most of them are at a gain at the moment. $80,000 on Walmart.
Over what time period?
Under a year for this.
Under a year. So in under a year, you made $80,000 just from your Walmart position.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Target with Walmart.
Now, is that profit or does that include the money you invested?
Oh, that's profit. I invested. Yeah.
That's profit. That's profit. Okay. And that's just one position. How many positions do you have? Are these literally your positions we're looking at on the screen or no?
Yeah. I mean, they're literally the positions. Yeah. Okay. This is my real money.
You probably have a pile of them. You probably have a whole bunch, right?
I have 9 positions currently.
No. Oh, okay. I thought it was more a scroll down. All right, cool. All right.
Oh, no, that's just a watch list. Well, the option positions, we have more. We have quite a bit more option positions.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Option positions.
Yeah. But options and stocks are almost the same thing. Options are kind of just like the icing on the cake. They make the cake sweeter. So I teach both. So I teach stock trading because an option is just, it's like stock trading. It's the steroids.
It's almost the same. All right. So you do stock stuff too. I didn't know you did stock stuff.
Oh, it's sorry. It's like
you taught stock stuff. I thought it was all options. Did you start doing that recently or no?
Well, the options are like on top of the stocks. It's kind of like, like the icing on the cake, or like, the food for the bodybuilder who's like working out. Like they go together.
Are you buying and holding? Are you trading? What are you doing on the stocks?
No.
So complicated. That gets complicated. We can skip that, but let's try it.
Sorry?
I don't want to get super complicated with talks about stocks, but that would be a valid question.
We buy and hold. We buy and hold. And then the options generate income on top of the stocks. So anyone here who wants to just trade stocks, you should learn options anyways.
Agree. Correct.
So yeah.
Are you buying?
All the wealthy people actually do this. All the movie stars, they just have advisors that do it for them.
Right. Are you buying and holding any stocks that are not paying dividends? And if so, why?
Yeah. Well, Amazon doesn't pay a dividend, but it's a high growth stock with a great brand name and it has good volatility. So there's good money to make off the option.
I'm not talking options, I'm talking about stocks. Options, I don't care. Stocks.
Yeah, Amazon doesn't pay a dividend, for example.
Okay, so that's all right. So if a stock, in terms of stocks, not options, you'll consider a stock if it's strong brand, if it's growth, you're okay with that.
Exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. And let's see. Those are probably all my questions. So if you're watching or listening to this, you might get an idea now for why this doesn't take a hell of a lot of time. This is more money intensive than time intensive. So even if you start with a little money, which you can, you just have to grow it over time. It's a kind of like what I say about real estate, although it's different. It's a hybrid between a business and an investment because you're involved in it, but it doesn't take a hell of a lot of time because it's not a traditional business, but it is an income that you can create. And it's all location dependent. Now, do you, what if someone is not an American?
Yeah, I have non-Americans. You can trade from anywhere in the world. There's brokerages in every country.
So you have to have a brokerage internal to your country. You could not, because you couldn't, if you're not an American, I don't think you get a Fidelity account, right? Or can you?
Right, but I think there's interactive brokers and there's other stuff worldwide.
Okay. Let me look at the questions here. Let's see here. Let me scroll.
But we could also talk about, I see a question about net worth and income. We can talk about that as well.
Yeah, we could talk. You could ask me or Henry anything you want. Let me rewind up on the questions here. Hang on a second. I lost my place. When is the tax return? All right, I'll start with my questions really quick, and then we'll get to Henry's because there's some I didn't get to, and Henry came on because he came on early. Let's see. Why is it best to not have a passport in your tax resident country? Because you will pay more. Number two reasons. Number one, you will probably pay more taxes. So even here in Dubai, people who live here in the UAE and have a UAE passport generally pay more money in taxes. Number one. Number two, more rules will apply to you if you are a legal citizen of where you live. COVID, perfect example. I'll give you another UAE example. In the UAE during COVID, they mandated every citizen get the vaccination. But if you weren't a citizen, they don't care. So if you were a legal resident, I'm a legal resident, and I was during the pandemic, I didn't have to get the vax. I didn't have to get the jab. That's why. So if you want more freedom and less taxes, you never want long-term. You never want a passport where you live. And when I say where you live, that's where you stay more than 6 months a year. That's the reason. Let's see here. Talking about Bugattis like Andrew Tate. What do I think of MJ DeMarco and the Millionaire Fastlane? I think it's a decent book. The problem is when I read it, it was a repeat of books I'd already read in the 90s, like from Brian Tracy and Dan Kennedy. But if you're starting from zero, or you're relatively new to this world, it's a very, very, very good book. Yes, I recommend a lot. And Henry is nodding his head. He agrees.
I was reading that book. I didn't get through it. I became a millionaire halfway into the book.
So there you go. Yes. What's good about Millionaire Fastlane is it covers all the concepts in one book. It's very dense. It covers all the concepts in terms of mental and all that stuff and how to structure a business all in one book. That's what I like about that book.
I also love the book because so many people will say, save money on coffee. Don't spend the $3. But no, The secret to getting rich is make more money. Be more alpha. Make more money.
You cannot save your way to wealth.
No.
That is advice, and Grant Cardone screens about this all the time, but he's right. That's advice for middle-class people. Your income is set because you're a corporate 9-to-5 wage slave. You can't make any money because you have a fucking job. So you got to not go to Starbucks at all. And that's all you can do. That's what that advice for. It's not for us. Okay, here's one for you. Is investing or doing passive income trading like Henry only an option for people who already have a high income, thriving, active Alpha 2.0 business? Well, we kind of already answered that. You want to answer that? We kind of already did. The answer is no.
Well, I started with $2,000 when I was still in college. I didn't have an income. I had to learn this skill before I had income. I took $2,000 to $7,000. Took a whole year. Then I kept investing pennies. Like I was really not making anything in college. So no, you can start off with a few $1,000s. And
it gets exponential. So 2 becomes 7, and 7 becomes 30, then 30 becomes 100. It's exponential. If you
stick with later. It's stupid. There's no expense that I even can feel right now. I live in a hotel because just easy to live here.
Oh, I was thinking that was a hotel room. I wasn't sure.
I live in the top floor of a hotel.
There you go. Yeah. I've seen people say at least 2 years, but in your opinion, how long does it take to learn to be a profitable trader?
A lot of people get confused and think a profitable trader is a day trader. I think a day trader will never be profitable. The chances of losing is like a poker table. There's 9 players, 1 big winner. Second person breaks even, then 7 losers. That's why it takes 2 years. In my opinion, it takes forever. When it comes to option trading, though, tables are reversed. You are the casino, meaning you're going to win 90% of the time if you follow the way I teach it. So you can become profitable day one, actually. You're not going to make millions of dollars, but you have an edge, just like a casino has an edge. I don't know if you know how blackjack works. The casino's 51% odds to win. Your chances are 49. Stupid people come, they win sometimes, they lose sometimes. They don't understand math. So they feel like, oh, this is a good game to play. Sometimes I win, sometimes I lose. But listen, on a $1,000 bet, your expected loss is $20. I teach people how to beat the casino. Your expected win is $20 per 1,000. Not a lot of money, but it compounds.
Right. This one's for Caleb. About a recent live stream, someone asked you if the long-term, can you be financially fine trading options? You said no. I think I said that regarding stocks. And you said stocks will be worthless. Can you expand on that? Regardless of anything we're talking about, long-term America is collapsing. So if you're going to focus on stocks, options, and things like that long-term, now I say long-term because when will Amazon go out of business? I mean, it's kind of ingrained in society now. Will it go out of business someday? Yes. Yes, it will. So if you're thinking, I'll buy a bunch of Amazon stock and ride on that for the next 40 years of my life, I don't think that's very smart because America's collapsing. It's an American company. But what we're talking about here has nothing to do with any of that. We're talking about here in the short term and the medium term. And you notice that Henry's talking about like Apple, like everyone has an iPhone. Where is Apple going? Now, here's two things. One is, and we don't know how this is going to work. There's 6 different ways America could collapse. And there's several of those ways. Some of the companies could survive and just switch countries or break off in their own country. There's all kinds of scenarios where countries could survive even if America goes down. That's another thing. So there's a lot. So that's what I said. And yeah, I haven't changed my mind. America's collapsing. I don't own any American stocks. I will never own an American stock. That's my thing, but I'm an extremist. And that's how I am. And I make plenty of money doing what I'm doing. So that's my answer. We're not talking here about long-term investing, but go ahead.
Just to add to that, when you look at a company like Coca-Cola, it's in Africa, it's in Asia, it's everywhere. So even if America does collapse completely,
Good point.
That's actually a good thing because there's going to be more fat people who are lazy as hell drinking Coke. It's actually going to be beneficial. Coke actually benefits from collapse because more people have less education. They're just going to drink their sugar water, get fatter, and get more addicted to sugar. So
that's a very good point. Perfect. Companies like Coca-Cola, companies like McDonald's, these are international conglomerates. Their headquarters is based in the United States, and that holding company is a United States holding company. But again, so what? This goes back to what I was talking about, where one of my business objectives, and I'm not there yet, but I'm a lot closer. I want 60% of my income from all my companies and all my income streams to not come from America, Canada, or Europe. So, and that's exactly why. And these companies like Coca-Cola, even Amazon, I have Amazon here in Dubai, I use it all the time. They're already there. I mean, more than 50% of their business comes from outside the US. So good point. I didn't think of that. Right. If you have less than 25K, what are the options? Why are options better than futures, especially micros for beginners?
So I don't cover futures, and a lot of people think that $25,000 is basically, if you have $25,000, you can start day trading. But I don't teach that. I don't do futures. And the reason why options are better for me is just because I've been successful doing it. I think you could be successful trading other stuff. I just don't have experience there. So I can't speak about that. Just like Caleb, you don't teach other models. Like being a beta male could work. It's not ideal. You don't teach that. So I don't teach these other models. They could work, but they're not ideal. So for me, option trading is that's what I'm best at.
With the collapse of the West on the horizon, do you teach strategies that will actually do better in a bad economy? We kind of covered that, but go ahead. What's your answer? I have an answer for that. Let me say it again.
Yeah.
With the collapse of the West on the horizon, do you teach strategies that will actually do better in a bad economy?
Option trading is so versatile. You can make money when the market goes down, which is not true for stocks unless you're shorting them, which is extremely risky. Right. Options, you can make little shorts with just $500. So yes, options will outperform. Actually, there's actually a study. It's the put selling study over 10 years by Goldman Sachs. And I actually have proof. I can pull it up right now that it actually outperforms in bad markets. Let me just find this.
Yeah, when you're trading, and Henry, correct me if I'm wrong, but when you're trading options, you're not trading based on the value of this. You are, but it's not relying on the long-term or short-term value of that stock, because as he just said, you sell the option and then something happens in a few weeks either way. You sell it or you get it depends on what kind of gain you get. You're not buying it based on where it's going to be in 6 years. That's not what options are. That's stock investing.
Yeah.
Pull that up. I'll keep with questions though. Let's see here. What brokers do you use, Henry? None.
So right? the brokers is just up to, I don't advise on third parties. It's a third party. It's up to you. It's like if you want to get jacked, you're like, what protein powder do you recommend? I'm going to show you the exercises to do to get jacked, get women, but the broker uses up to you. It doesn't matter. They're all the same.
How much gain can I expect per week from investing 30K, and how long would it take me per week? Well, we kind of already answered that.
I said, like $1,500 a week, or they're $1,000 to $2,000 a week.
Where can I see Henry's past 20 trades performance?
I mean, everything's public on YouTube on my channel, and then the rest is in
What
my
is your channel? Invest with Henry, correct?
Yeah.
So just if
I
you
mean, I
YouTube
don't share every
Invest with
trade
Henry,
because that's for my private community. So if I were to share all the trades, just to be honest, I would have nothing to sell and I couldn't feed my 20-person team. So my program is where I show everything. I show everything on YouTube, but it's not like 20 past trades. That's too specific of a question.
he shows a lot on his YouTube.
I show a lot.
You go watch it. He shows a lot. Yeah. Please post a replay of this on your YouTube channel. All these go on YouTube. These are all automatically posted on YouTube. There are studies that show that day traders he's not teaching day trading. So again, it looks like this question was asked before. We already covered that. He's not teaching day trading. That's how he's teaching.
I teach weekly and monthly income.
Right.
So not day trading.
You said your clients don't need to research. Do you teach them how so they could eventually do everything on their own? Or would they rely on you for profitable trades, finding profitable trades? So that's a good question. Let's say someone says, Henry, I don't want to copy Henry's trades. I want to figure out how to do my own trades.
Part of the reason I became a coach and not a financial advisor was financial advisors charge a percentage until the day you die. They suck your blood like a mosquito. My program, yes, there's an education fee, but once you're in, I teach you how to do everything yourself because my goal is not to suck your blood. I don't have anything ongoing. I don't have subscriptions, nothing. It's one time, I teach you everything. The whole point is that you become self-sufficient without me because I don't want to work more. So I purposely give everyone everything as fast as possible. So you're as rich as possible. So then you tell your friends to leave me alone in a good way. So it's actually the best, real, legit program.
It's a question for me. So Henry, you can chime in on this too after I'm done with it if you have an opinion. Can you talk more about your net worth opinion? You mentioned in your last video. You said that net worth should not include your house if you own it. Well, I actually said more than that. So two aspects of this, in my opinion, and in most rich people's opinion, they don't include their homes either. But I have a more extreme opinion than this. A, your net worth should not include your primary residence. That's correct because that's not a fucking asset. It's an expense. Even if you pay off your house and you live in your house and you own your house and you're not renting it out, those are all the ifs. You're going to have to pay maintenance. You're going to have to pay property taxes. You're going to pay all kinds. So that house is not going to make you any money. Well, it might make money when I sell it in 20 years. Okay, it's still same thing. That's not an asset. And you don't even fucking know, especially with the economy the way it is now. So that's number one. So yeah, so whenever I look at my own net worth numbers, I don't include, right now I don't own a primary residence, but I have for most of my adult life. And I never included that in my balance sheet. Technically, it's there for banks and, financial institutions. They want to see that garbage, but in my real numbers, the real Caleb numbers that I look at, that my financial team sets up for me every month, I don't include that number. It's there. It's on another sheet, but I don't count it. Number one. Number two, what I also said was, if you own a business that is a privately held company, meaning it's not on the stock market, you own it or you own it with partners, you will never 100% know that. You can watch the last video I did on this last week. So I'll just summarize this. You will never know the exact value of that asset. You have no idea. You're guessing. It's a gigantic range from here to here. It could be 3 million. It could be 9 million. You don't know because it's only valued at something that a VC or a big conglomerate would buy from you or private equity. And when they write you that check and you get your $13 million in your account, like someone here in Dubai, I can't mention his name, but some of you know what this is. Great. Then you know your company's worth 13 million, but now you don't have your company anymore. Now it's irrelevant. So in my world, I have the real, what I call the Caleb real net worth number, which is just my passive stuff. My business isn't even, none of my companies, none of them. And some of them have real value. Some of them have questionable value because it's a personality branded business. But anyway, I don't include the value of any of my companies. Now it's there, again, it's on a different sheet, but I don't know how much my companies are worth. I have a guess. I can use an EBITDA multiple. And again, when I talk to banks, they have to see a number and I throw a number at them, but I don't know if that number is accurate. So that's why. And lastly, I don't have, and I've never had a net worth goal. My goal has always been a monthly net after-tax residual income goal. So how much money do my investments spin off every month if I took it as income? So I have to pay capital gains, most likely, depending on your area. If I have to pay capital gains, after capital gains, how much money can I put in my pocket to support me? Not how much can I reinvest, but if I took it as income and I have that number, and then that you can kind of use formulas to kind of figure out what kind of net worth you need and then where you need it, what kind of return you need. your tax rates, all that stuff. So those are three aspects that I have in terms of net worth. Do you have an opinion on that, Henry?
Yeah, net worth doesn't matter. What are you going to do with your net worth? The only part I disagree with is your house does count towards net worth, but it doesn't matter. Only income matters because that's where you live your lifestyle. So if you're looking to live a good life, the Alpha Male 2.0 life, travel, who cares about your net worth? You're not spending net worth. You're spending income usually. So.
And your net worth is, you said 5 million?
Yeah, I just crossed 5 mil. Yeah.
That's cool. Good for you. Holy shit. Good. Finally. Good.
It's good. But at a certain point, I want to focus on the other areas of my life that you talk about because money is useless now after a certain point. It actually hurts because I don't want to show up in a Lamborghini on a first date because then the girl's going to like me for the wrong reason.
Yes. Correct. Yeah. I went through that myself. Yes. Yeah. And again, I'm going to say this again, guys. Henry is 29, started with $2,000, started where a lot of you are. He's got 5 million. He's not even 30 yet. Location dependent. This is all doable stuff. Now, you don't have to, if you're like, oh my God, $5 million, fine. Why don't you go for 500,000? And instead of talking about 400,000 a month, like Henry's doing, why don't you start with like 5,000 a month, 3,000 a month, and then get to 7,000 a month, which is the 85K minimum. And if you want to make more, you can make more. One more thing about that really quick. There's a percentage of you, when we start talking about millions of dollars and hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, your brain just tunes out like, well, that's bullshit. I don't need all that money. Great. You don't need all that money. You don't need that money. What you do need is $85,000 a year location dependent. That's $7,000 a month location dependent, which is a fraction of the numbers Henry and I are talking about. That you do need. So once you have that, then you can poo-poo everything else. But if you don't have that yet, you can't just tune out and say, well, I'm not going to do that. Yeah, you kind of need to do it. 7,000. Not 400,000, 7. And you can do 7. If Henry can do 400K a month, you can do 7 a month. Right?
We have like 2,000 testimonials of students that are doing between 3 to 10. So majority of people are in that 3 to 10 rate. Yeah, the majority of people on 3 to 10 because majority of people are not millionaires. Normal people do $3,000 to $10,000 a month. Normal.
Right. There you go.
Within 6 months, not day one. But.
There you go. This is not rocket science, especially when you can just copy Henry's trades. Then you have to barely think. Can I use trading income as a strategy to lower my taxable income? I live in a high tax country.
No, you're going to make more money. You're going to pay more taxes, unfortunately. But you're going to get
Why
richer.
the fuck do you live in a high tax country, Will L? What the fuck are you doing? Where is Henry? Henry, say it again. What country you're in?
I'm in Poland now, but I've been to all the countries you mentioned. Colombia, I've been to Southeast Asia, I've been through Eastern Europe, been through Latin America.
There you go. We live in places that are not high tax countries. Get location independent. You can use this to get location independent because it's location independent income, and get the fuck out of your high tax countries. You guys give me a headache. Caleb, you talk about not taking sides on many issues like Israel v. Palestine, for example. I didn't say not taking sides. I said be neutral and objective and rational, which no one is on the Palestine v. Israel thing. Everyone takes a side and screams and yells and said their side is perfect and the other side is evil, which is not true because both those sides have done lots of horrible, terrible things. That's what I've said. When do you see a need to speak out against evil or wrongdoing? I do. Who do I speak out against? On the Israel-Palestine thing, who have I spoken out against? Both sides, because both sides kill innocent people. That's who I've spoken out against. So I speak out against both Republicans or Democrats, left-wingers or right-wingers. Who do I speak out against? Both sides, because both sides fucking kill people. Because I'm neutral and objective, unlike most people in these issues. So there you go. I speak out against evil all the time. It's just that I don't pick one side is good and the other side is evil. They're both evil. And it's hard for Americans in particular, other Westerners too, but Americans, this is really hard, to not think of this binary, everything is good or bad. You'll see this in pop culture. A new thing now with movies in the last 8-9 years, every movie that comes out is terrible or it's awesome. No, some movies are just, and it's hard for people to do this. So that's the answer. I can find 2K. Would be extremely happy to start with an extra $50 a week and build from there. Exactly. I mean, like I said earlier, if you guys, a lot of you guys listen to the sound of our voices. If you started making, and I've said this before, in any location independent business model, including Henry's, if you start making $500 a week, 100% location independent, when you've never had that before and you've been in a fucking job your whole life, it changes your whole life. You're like, oh my God, I didn't know I could do this. There's parallels to my Alpha 2.0 stuff on my other channel where, if you get one thing, you're like, oh shit, I can do this. It's the same thing with money. So yeah, great. How fast to go from mid 5 figures to 6 figures? 6 months or 2 years? Can you answer that question? It's a little general. I don't know what he means.
It is general, but 6 months is very reasonable. I mean, people do that all the time. So mid 5 figures is 50K to 100K. So yeah, 6 to 12 months is possible.
So we have another one like that.
Especially if you add money.
Okay. Yeah. Starting from scratch, did you say it takes only 1 hour a week to make $500 a week investing 10K?
At first you need to learn the foundation. So once you build a strong base, then you can do that. But no, day one, no. Like you have to build a strong base. You have to build a foundation of knowledge. And then you can start to move towards what was mentioned.
Does Henry have an opinion on the top 3 best growing countries or economies to invest in? Do you have any thoughts about that?
I'm probably not the best person to ask because when you get, I don't know if can I swear?
You can swear safe. I just said fuck. Go ahead.
If you get rich as fuck trading options, you don't care what countries. You're so rich, it doesn't matter. I can go to Dubai. It's fine. So who cares about the richest countries? Learn investing, learn a high income skill, and you won't care what countries are growing because you're so rich, and lower your taxes, obviously.
Can you tell, because Henry and I have had discussions about this, can you tell that Henry doesn't really give a fuck about money at this point in his life? He doesn't really care, right? Is that accurate? It's not something you give a shit about anymore?
At all.
Right. And I talked about when I reached the point where I stopped. I still give a shit about money, but my personality is different than Henry's. But I reached a point many years ago where I stopped caring about how much things cost in my day-to-day life. So if at dinner, I remember the days, I don't know, Henry, you can relate, but I remember the days where, like in my first marriage, okay, way back a billion years ago, I'd take my family out to dinner, or even take my wife at the time out to dinner, or even go on a first date way back after my divorce, way back. And I would go to dinner with somebody, and the check would come be like $73. And I remember going, just this feeling like, oh my God, $73. And I was making 6-figure income, but not what I make now. But I remember going, oh, just this whole thing in my body went, oh, fuck, that's too much money. And now on a regular basis, and I mean this, I'll go places where it's $300, $350, $400. Because, dinner with 2 people plus drinks in an expensive place like in Dubai. It's the best place in the world. And I go, okay, it doesn't even register. So when you get to a certain financial position in your life, and that's not 85,000 a year, it's a little beyond that. But when you get to a certain point, you'll end up like Henry and just not give a fuck about these things.
It's crazy. I thought I really cared about money, but I went to a Ty Lopez event and he said, all of you guys here in this room who want to make a lot of money, you actually don't want to make a lot of money. You want something that money can get you, whether it's status, love, etc. And I realized when I got a lot of money, I don't care about this. For me, I want good relationships, friends, and, partner, romantic partner.
Yeah. And my thing is longevity, live a long time. So we all have our different objectives that are not money, but you need to reach a baseline in your life where you have plenty of money to make those things easier. I talked about this, the Unchained Man. You need a certain amount of money. And for you men, a certain amount of sex in your life. So you have a baseline so everything else can make you happy. Family, friends, children. If you're poor, nothing will make you happy because you'll be miserable all the time because you're poor. Right. I assume including houses and net worth was done mostly by financial institutions that have need because the average American really has nothing else of value to include as an asset. That's one reason. There's also a financial, and a financial incentive for the financial industry to the home industry. Hey, it's an asset. So there's a lot of reasons, but yeah. Should I also pick a broker that allows trading Southeast Asian stocks? Any recommendations for such a broker?
I only trade U.S. stocks, the safest, biggest ones that are good for creating passive income. That's not important. So no, you don't need to pick a special broker. They all do the same thing. It's like a vehicle. It gets you from point A to point B. If you want to drive a Ferrari to work, sure, but a Toyota will get you to work too.
Notice that Henry is very conservative about this stuff because Henry could go crazy and do all kinds of international options and all kinds of crazy shit. He doesn't. He just said it. American stocks, because right now, he's right. That's the most stable. It's the most reliable. It's the safest. So you can tell how conservative he is, which is good. Yeah. For peace of mind, Caleb wants a chunk of his income outside the West. Is there any way to do this with your option strategies? Would it be beneficial to do this? That's a question for you, but you kind of just answered that.
I mean, I guess you could have money outside of the US, but I don't think that would be conducive with option trading. I mean, I guess you could take the income that you make from options and put it into a foreign bank account.
Yeah. And you could learn some skill sets from Henry and then do your own options trading in other markets. You could do that.
Definitely.
But then you'd have to make your own trades, I guess. Yeah. Would it be foolish to liquidate my Roth IRA contributions and do options trading instead? My Roth has performed poorly consistently for the last 6 years. I am 28. Options sound much easier. Well, I have an answer, but I'll let you answer that first.
You can do options in a Roth IRA. You wouldn't want to liquidate it because there's a penalty. I think it's 10% before 59.5. So you wouldn't want to liquidate it because I can't say with good conscience to like incur that fee, but you can use certain option strategies in a Roth IRA. Not all, but some. So
yeah, you can, what Henry said, you can buy and sell as long as you keep it in the portfolio under the Roth. You don't need to liquidate a thing. So that's a very good point. We didn't talk about. You could do this entire thing under a Roth, under a normal IRA. You couldn't do it on a 401k, I don't think. So you could, if you have a retirement system like that, especially if you're an American, you could just keep it under there. It's fine. Right. Might be beyond the scope of this, but in the long run, if the plan is to renounce American citizenship, would it be wise to consider doing that before implementing options, less exit tax? Well, as a non-American, and Henry, correct me if I'm wrong, you can own American stocks as a non-American. It's just tricky. You got to fart around with a bunch of paperwork and stuff because you have to set up, an American brokerage account or a foreign brokerage account that has American stocks, which exist. So you got to factor that into your equation. If you're purely worried about exit tax, well, then yes. But then you have to figure out, there's a reason I haven't renounced yet. I'm going to. It's a little, when you have money, it's a little complicated. How exactly going to buy and trade American stock options if you're not an American? So that's not an easy answer. You can do it, and people have done it, but you can't just do what Henry and I can do with an American passport and just go to Fidelity or Schwab and just set something up and just start rolling in a few minutes. You can't do that. What time commitment is required to join Henry's program and or services?
All right, I can jump into that. Talk about it a bit.
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, yeah, it's actually one of my questions to you as well, Caleb, is part of the reason I reached out to you is because I think my purpose in life is to teach men how to trade options. Like you like helping men become more free and have better relationships. For me, it's helping men become more financially free because then that opens their time up for other things. So I'm doing something kind of crazy, which honestly is not worth my time at all. But because it's part of my purpose and because I want to work with your guys, I have a new program, which is 30 days with me every single day. I'm sending you voice notes, one-on-one coaching. Makes no sense.
Every day? Oh, my God.
Yeah, 30 days, every single day.
Oh, my God.
As much as they want, they can contact me. They can bother me. They have my personal Telegram.
Oh, my
God. $10 a day. $10 a day. It actually doesn't make sense. I know it actually doesn't make sense.
But what? Is there a but? There's got to be a button there.
There's no but. It's just 30 days, $10 a day. They can.
All right. What's the link? What's the link? Let's do it.
I think I sent you the link, so it's somewhere on your channel. Or I can send the link right now.
Put the link in the chat, and then I'll verbalize it. Is it something I can easily verbalize? Put it in the chat.
Sure. I don't know if I can comment in the chat because I didn't log in to
StreamYard. You can. You can do a private chat. Send it to me.
Okay.
Holy shit! I didn't even know this. I thought Henry was going to pitch something else. So this is even better.
I put in the private chat.
Okay, hang on. I'm going to put Henry's link in the chat.
Essentially, because this is part of my purpose, and because I hopefully don't want too many people to join, only the serious guys, because it's going to be a big suck of my time. I was thinking just a few of your guys join, and I just do 30 days every day, basically with them. Maybe we'll skip Sundays, but it's basically $10 a day every day. I send them a video, a personal voice note. They can ask questions and then some trades along the way. It's just one-on-one coaching. Makes no sense. All right,
so here's the link. I'm going to verbalize if you're listening. Coaching.investwithhenry.com/ and it's 30-day challenge page separated by dashes. So 30-day-challenge-page. So let me be clear. That's a 30-day program. It's $10 a day. You have direct access to you. You have your personal Telegram. Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Does it involve one-on-one actual coaching? Got to be really clear. No.
Yeah, they can message me all they want. They can
message you. They don't get like one-on-one coaching.
No live
calls.
Sessions. No live sessions.
No live sessions. All right. Okay.
Well, actually, we will have a live session, a live trading group session. Yeah. So there is live session, just not one-on-one, because that'd be impossible.
Okay. Live session, group sessions.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
How many?
How
many? Let's be clear.
I haven't even determined that. We can do 4.
So at least give me the minimum you'll promise. 4. What's the minimum?
I'm going to aim for 4 once a week for 4 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
4 sessions live.
Shit, I was expecting him to say several $1,000s for X, Y, and Z. So you guys are getting in on this shit. There you go.
I on purpose make offers so good that people should be stupid to say no, because at this point in my life, I don't work for money. Therefore, I actually work because I want to work. Therefore, my offer is like insane.
Yeah, good. That's what you should do. In fact, I just did that 2 weeks ago. All right, let's go on for some more questions. And if you have questions about what he just talked about, you can put that in the chat. And if you guys who are watching the replay of this, when is there a deadline for this or no?
Yeah, there is.
Okay, so what's the deadline? Because people will be listen to the podcast and watch the replay.
Next week. We start next Monday, so like 7 days.
So let's be precise about a date. Let me look at the calendar here. So the 3rd?
Yeah, in 7 days or so.
Okay, so your deadline for this is June 3rd, everybody. Okay, June 3rd. If you're listening to the podcast,
they can still reach out. It just won't. It would be a different price, because this is it'll
be
very
more
good
money.
Special. Yeah, it would be more money. Yeah, a lot more money. 300 would be.
It should be a lot more fucking money. You're giving out your Telegram. See, that's shit
Yeah.
I will never do.
Yeah,
you're nicer than me.
yeah, I know, it's crazy.
Let's see. We'll go back to the.
But yeah, the goal after 30 days is they'll be pretty good, and from there on, if they want more trades, they can purchase more trades and continue with me. But they'll be pretty good in terms of knowledge. You can get more from me if you want, but you won't need. You'll be self-sufficient.
What is the difference between the Alpha 2.0 mini course? It's not a mini course, it's a full course. And the 90-day business builder, there's a huge difference. One is 1/5 the price of the other. The Alpha 2.0 course is just videos. It's training videos. That's a lot of them. It's a lot of materials and videos. It's a do-it-yourself. You're on your own, but it's a lot. 90-day business builder, we work with you. We have a whole set of coaches. We work with you for literally 90 days. It's not videos. There's videos involved, but it's real human beings helping you. We start this Saturday on the next iteration, on the next cohort. So it's us working with you for 90 days, multiple human beings, 24/7 in our base camp. That's the difference. It's a whole different thing. Henry, what is your dating story status? Do you agree with what is status? Dating
And
story,
status.
something status. Do you agree with Caleb? So this is not Alpha 2.0. Henry, if you could just summarize it and keep it very G-rated, but give them a brief summary. And then
it's very difficult.
Guys, if you want Henry to come back for my Alpha 2.0 channel, we can get into more details. But go ahead.
I would love to come back on the Alpha 2.0 because I'm starting a little YouTube channel with a buddy of mine to help him out on more masculinity topics.
Okay.
This topic will go too long. I think we got to skip this one.
Let's skip it. All right, I know you. I know some of your history. Yeah. Okay.
We would go on for 2 hours. So your guys want, be happy to do that.
Henry's had a lot of adventures and a lot of experiences. Let's say it that way.
Good and bad.
S&P is about to crash soon. How much percentage of my portfolio would I lose your conservative strategy? Again, we answered that already. We're not dealing with crashes or rise of the market because we're dealing with options. That's with stocks. But Henry, go to answer that question. I know you already answered it.
There's 2 parts to it. Let me quickly share the article from Goldman Sachs that I want to prove to everybody that options is safer actually than stocks, is the safest strategy. I have proof. Can you see my screen?
Hang on. Yes, we see it.
There's 2 parts to that question. The first part is conservative, whatever. So the art of put selling is a 10-year study by Goldman Sachs. These are the researchers that did it. They did put selling, which is a specific strategy. Don't worry about it if you don't get it right now. My program, I'll teach you. But it outperformed the S&P 500. So this strategy outperformed. And the biggest thing is, if I scroll down, you can see in 2008, Put selling offers the same returns as equities with lower drawdown risk. So in 2008, stock market lost 33%, option trading lost 20%. So it's safer in a crash, literally safer. And that's the proof of it right there. There's a real chart. So it's safer than stock trading, especially in a crash. That's proof by Goldman Sachs, by the bank. So anyways, and the second part of the question is S&P 500 is about a crash. I'm sorry not to be rude, but unless you're God, you don't know if the S&P is going to crash. Warren Buffett doesn't know. Nobody knows. That's completely a false statement.
Agreed.
You have no idea if it's going to crash or not. Neither do I. Nobody knows. So that's a false statement right there. So no, it doesn't really matter. You can't predict the future. The best thing to do is to invest and use your cash to make money today, not to wait for a crash. And timing the market is the stupidest thing you can do.
I have said many, 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 many times, those of you who know me a while, you've heard me say this 10,000 times. No one, and Henry is right, nobody, including people like Warren Buffett, including the president of the United States, no one knows when these things will happen. Nobody knows. People ask me, when will the United States collapse? I have no idea. It could be 3 years from now. It could be 37 years from now. I don't know. I know it'll happen in our lifetimes, but that's a long span of time. We don't know. So anyone who says this is about to happen, and some guys who I like, including people like Doug Casey, who I really like, and Peter Schiff, who I somewhat like, they're saying all the time, oh, October, we're all fucked. Oh, this year, and they've been saying it for years. It never happens. Or, or the opposite. I've heard guys say, oh, the stock market's going to boom and it's going to be great. Next November or next January, it's going to be great. Get ready, everybody. And that doesn't happen. No one knows when. Correct. How long did it take for both of you to get residencies in low tax U.S. states before moving to other countries? That if you physically go there, you can do it in 2 days. If you physically go there. If you don't physically go there, depends the state, takes longer. So if you do Billy's program on how to get residency in South Dakota, it's 2 days. And you fly out 2 days, you fly back, you're done. It's really just the DMV and your driver's license or your state ID. That's it. It's 2 days. It's not like Paraguay, you're going to be down there for 2 weeks. It's the states. It's easier. So. Henry, what are some SP hurdles you had to overcome to become successful in your business life? That's a good question.
What is SP?
Societal programming. False societal programming.
Societal pro. Well, my father is from Soviet Union, so he said just become a lawyer or a doctor or like an engineer. So that's like some societal programming. Obviously, all the typical societal programming. But actually, in general, the reason I became successful is because I had so much pain in my life. I had a tough, parents. They're broke. They have bad mindset. Tough time with women. I was getting women, but not the quality that I wanted. I've always been very picky of the type of woman that I want. So I knew I had to really become a top 1% man to get what I want. So that's where Caleb's channel really came in, was I wanted to be the top of the top. I'm not happy with being mediocre. So a lot of societal programming and a lot of personal problems that got me here. More than most people here, actually, which is why if you think you're in a bad spot, trust me, you can do it. You can accomplish anything you want.
Yeah. And, I've heard people say that, especially lately, that trauma and problems in your early life actually help. They actually raise the odds of you becoming successful, as long as it's not too much. I've heard some scientific data on this because I've had some of that. So I keep saying, guys, no excuses. Yeah, Henry's been through a lot, probably more than most of you who just sit around and watch Netflix all day. What kind of horrible problems are you having in your life? I know some of you are going through some horrible things. I know that. I'm aware of that. But just, what's your excuse? I keep bringing people on here. Henry's the third or fourth person I've had on this channel. Before I had Romessa, who is, a 20-year-old in Pakistan making more money than most of you guys. What's your excuse? You don't have an excuse. Right. Good answer. In a year, I'm supposed to start working as an intern psychologist making $35,000 USD a year. That sucks. Don't have a job. You should quit. Have your own business first. Do you recommend to learn and do trading options during that time? Well, yeah, if that's something you want.
It's a skill set that you need. It's a mandatory, whether you do it now or later. The sooner you do it, the faster your money compounds in the future.
No. Caleb, with the SD business structure, SD? What do you mean by SD? would the SD business structure work if we still have a day job at the moment? I don't know what you mean by SD. If you're talking about the models that I teach, that is exactly the point of the models I teach. What I teach is starting your own business, max 15 hours per week on the side. When you get that income up to 1/3-ish of your current salary, you can quit. 1/3 to 40%. And the reason for that is if you freed up by quitting your job, you instantly freed up 40, 50 hours a week. So if you have a side business making X, could you triple that if I gave you another 50 hours a week? Yeah, you could. If you gave me another 50 hours a week, you have any idea how much more money I'd make? That's the only factor in terms of when you're making money like that. So, South Dakota. Okay. Could we still do the business if we work at the day job? Yes. I'm going to say this again. I don't know if that's something you asked this earlier for the same guy. It takes 2 days. Can you take 2 days off work? Can you take 2 vacation days? You probably can. Yes. Yes. Is the 500 per week still doable from 10K invested in a recession period? We've answered that question in some form or fashion at least 3 times, but Henry, go ahead.
I understand the question is a little different because it's like pertinent to a recession. We don't know when a recession will happen, but the truth is during a recession, I have worse results. If I told you I have great results in a recession, I'd be lying. It's like going to war. Everyone dies. My goal is everyone dies and I'm limping on one leg, but I'm trying to live. So I do better than everyone, but no, probably $500 a week on 10K would be very difficult in a recession period. Not impossible, but more difficult.
But your argument is you would still make money, you just wouldn't make nearly as much during a recession period.
Yeah, I have made money in recessions, just not as much, obviously.
Yeah, right. I've said this many times. I'll say this again. This applies to Henry's stuff too, because Henry's within this model that we talk about here. You have more long-term stability, financial stability and safety, owning your own business in the modern era than having a goddamn job. That's the truth. That's a fact. That's not my opinion. Having a job is not like this is not the 1950s where you had a job, you were set for life. You were set for life in the 50s. Is that true now? No. You can get laid off. You can get fired from AI. You can say something that your boss doesn't like or human resources doesn't like. You can say you love Trump or say something about women's asses and get fired. You have so many risks involved in having a job today. You have none of those in your own business. Because even if you go out, and I've talked about this many times in my books too, even if you have a problem in your business where what you're doing doesn't make as much money, in a business, unlike a job, you can pivot. And I've done it several times in my business career. You could pivot to something else and almost immediately be making your money again. Can you do that in job? No, you can't. You got to hope you get another job. So, no, I mean, would the tax structure in South Dakota interfere with still having to work at a day job at the moment? No, I don't know why you're asking that. That is a dumb question. Has nothing to do with it. I'm literally on the page.
So real quick, Caleb, on that question, it says 14 days. I used to do 14 days. No, guys, that's the correct link. It's going to be 30 days, not 14. I used to do a 14, so I think there's a little error there, and it said 14.
Oh, okay. So to be clear, on your link we gave out,
it's perfectly fine. Everything's perfectly
good. It says 14 on the page.
Somewhere it said 14 somewhere. Just ignore the 14.
Just ignore the 14. I'll put the link in the chat again for those of you guys who.
Somewhere it said 14, I think. Yeah, join the 14 day. No, it's 30. So
the link is coaching.investwithhenry.com/30-day challenge page, and 30-day challenge page is separated by hyphens.
Yep.
Okay. Speaking of South Dakota again, are you the same guy? There we go. Okay, you guys are interested in South Dakota. You guys got to go to bosscooperative.com/events or my page, calebjones.com/events. There's a Get Residency in South Dakota for you Americans. There's 2 this year. It's super cheap to sign up. You take $2 off and it works. Speaking of South Dakota, I'm moving to Paraguay in 10 months. So do the SD thing first. If you live in a state with income tax, I live in a state with income tax currently. Yes. If you live in a state, I'm going to say this one more time to be clear. If you're an American, you're getting ready to leave America, and you live in a state, which means you live there and or your driver's license is there, either one, that has a state income tax, you must do the South Dakota thing or do something else on your own, Nevada, Washington State, whatever, before you leave. Yes. I would have never left had I not had Washington State residency. I have a Washington State. I would not have been in Oregon. Are you kidding? It's 11% tax. So, yes, Yes. Follow up on my previous question. How much per week could I expect in a recession period then from 10K invested? I don't think Henry can give you the exact number, but Henry, go ahead.
We've already went through this question. This question is like the same one over and over.
Yeah.
It just varies. It could be a few $100s. It depends on your skill set. So a few $100s a week is possible.
Yeah. Mike Holm, you're too worried about this. Would being an Alpha 2.0 doctor who does income trading options meet the Alpha 2.0 criteria of having businesses in different sectors? Yes, it would. Because you're in a doctor, Alpha 2.0 location independent doctor, like Dr. Winging, one of those guys. Okay, not just a standard doctor with an office. No, location independent doctor, and then you're trading options, and you're really doing it. You're making money at it. You've got some real money in there. Yes, absolutely, you're covered. Yeah. Let's see. How are we doing on time? Oh, perfect. I got to go in a few minutes. Is there anything else you want to tell the guys before we wrap this up? Is there anything you didn't say that you wanted to say?
No, I think I said everything. I think your guys are on the right track. Obviously, your content is top notch. And I think all these guys, if they just invest in themselves, continue on their path of making more money on their Alpha 2.0 business, investing, that's all you need to do financially. There's other things you have to do, but financially, you're good.
Yes, correct. How has taking care of your physical health, such as optimal sleep and working, benefit your financial objectives? Is that for me or Henry? I guess we could both answer it. How is taking care of, this will be the last question, then we'll go. How has taking care of your physical health, such as optimal sleep and working, benefited your financial objectives? Massively, because when you get enough sleep, when you work out, when you meditate, when you don't eat garbage, you can eat garbage sometimes. I certainly do. Okay. Less than I used to. But when you do these things, two things. Number one, you have more energy. And the number one complaint of guys, modern era, is they have shitty testosterone, so they have no energy. So they work at their computers for like 45 minutes and they get antsy and they're like, oh, I'm tired. I don't want to do this anymore. Number one. Number two is you are more focused. I can sit and work for 3 hours straight. The vast majority of human beings on earth can't do that. They can't work for 3 hours straight. They can't do it. I can, because I do all this other stuff and I'm motivated. So that's how it makes a difference in your financial life. You want to say something about that?
I think it's super important. I'm trying to optimize myself as much as possible. We could talk a lot about this topic, but sleep is super important.
Critical.
And makes a huge difference in all areas. I could talk about this a lot because I have actually a bit of an issue where.
I know you do.
Yeah,
yes.
We talked about it. But.
All right, last question, because this is about yours. Which program do I have to join where you give out your trades? Or do you want to talk about that?
Well, basically, the 30 days is to give you guys a lot of coaching, to do one-on-one. I do have a program that's like a forever program, a one-time thing. I guess they can just reach out to me through my personal email or something.
What is? Do you want to give that out or no?
I think it's just better just to focus on the Telegram for now.
Do the just do the $10 a day thing. Just do it. And if you want to do more,
don't worry. My program is more expensive. It's thousands actually. It's a couple $1,000. Yeah, but this one is $10 a day. So
yeah. Cool. All right. Awesome. What is your website?
It's just a link that you
just
set
go
up.
to that website. Go to that link.
Yeah.
Okay. And a link.
I'll
post a link also in the. Sorry. Go ahead. What?
If they go to my website, it's a couple $1,000, so it doesn't make sense for them.
Okay. All right. Cool. Well, thank you, Henry. This has been great. I haven't talked in a while. It's been great.
Awesome.
Awesome, guys. And again, I'm going to say this again. Henry's an example. What's your excuse? He did it, and he did really well at it. And if you don't want to do that well, fine. But what's your excuse of not making, $7,000 a month or something, or 10,000 or 15? There's no excuses. And I'm going to keep saying this. Henry's still in his 20s, and he got started with $2,000. Cool.
That's right.
All right, guys. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thanks, Henry. Bye.